Let us understand the importance of Docker. For an example, imagine that you are using Windows operating system. For some reason, all of a sudden, you want Kali Linux. Maybe like you wanted to perform some hacking process or penetration testing, or you want some cybersecurity tools. Reason may be anything. Just imagine that you want Kali Linux all of a sudden. It's not that easy to set up a Kali Linux lab on Windows operating system. To do that, you have to install VMware or VirtualBox, and then you have to download Kali Linux ISO, and you have to install Kali Linux on VMware, which is already installed on your computer. To do this entire process, it takes at least 1 hour time. And of course, a good amount of memory in your computer as well. But in case if you have Docker installed in your computer, you can set up Kali Linux in less than 5 minutes. It is not only the case of Kali Linux. Do you want MySQL? Yes, you'll get in less than 5 minutes. You want Django? Yes, within less than 5 minutes, you can set up Django server in your machine. Node.js, what else? Whatever you want, you can have that software within less than 5 minutes in your computer. It's true that it is possible using Docker. Now let's see where actually this idea has come from. In a software industry, so as to develop and implement a software project, there will be two teams which involve. One is development team, next is operational teams. The development team writes the code and installs the required software to execute the code, and once after developing a software module, that module will be given to operational team. It is the responsibility of operational team to test the module whether it is correctly functioning or not, and if it is functioning according to the requirements, then that module will be hosted in the server, means implementation part. The total implementation part will be carried out by operational teams. Putting together these two teams, we call it as Devops. This is what Devops is. So in the field of Devops, the biggest problem is that whenever some module is developed by developer team, whatever the software configuration that is used by developer team has to be maintained by operational team. Maybe because of some reasons, operational team always faces the problems to set up the same kind of software. Small parameter is missing, or some configuration is missing. Because of some reason, operational team will conduct so many meetings with the development team so as to resolve this issue. In fact, this issue is not a thing that is related to the problem that they are going to solve. It's a problem of installing some software. Of course, it's a silly thing, but it's fact that both the teams dwelt on solving this kind of problem. They spend so much time. This problem has been observed by the researchers, and a company came forward to give the solution for this one. The company name itself is Docker. They have given a brilliant solution that now onwards operational team don't have to install any software to test the module that is developed by development team. Operational team will be using Docker, and of course development team has to use the Docker. Using Docker, they'll simply use a concept called as container. Their applications will be running in the container. If development team has to transfer any module to the operational team, they will simply transfer the container so that the operational team will directly use that container without installing any single software in their machine. Now let's roughly look at the architecture of Docker in case if it is installed. Let us imagine after installation of Docker, you will get the Docker client interface, which will work on command line. Using this Docker client, we need to create container. In order to create a container, we need an image. Whenever you have installed a fresh Docker on your machine, basically you will not have any kind of images in it. So client, whenever we are requesting an image, then your machine will look after your local repository. This is your local memory in which images are stored. Basically your local repository will be empty after first or fresh installation. You need to pull an image from Docker Hub. Why we need an image? For an example, if you want to install MySQL on your machine, you need a MySQL image on your machine, which is not readily available for you because you have freshly installed it. Your local repository is empty. Your machine will be contacting to Docker Hub in order to pull a MySQL image to your local memory. Docker Hub is a cloud environment owned by the company Docker, where you will get almost all software images including Kali Linux, MySQL, Django, Node.js, Moodle, all kind of software images are available in Docker Hub. You can simply pull that image to your local repository. After pulling an image into your local repository, we'll be creating a container. For an example, if you have pulled a MySQL image from Docker Hub, then you need to create a container for that particular image. Container is an instance of that image. Image is simply a file. Container is an instance of image. In order to run an application, first of all, we need to create a container for that particular image, and then we need to use that container to run our application. You don't have to worry, I'm going to show you the entire process. There are two important terms that you should always remember with respect to Docker. One is image and the other is container. These two things are very important in order to run an application. If we want some software to run in the Docker, then we need to pull the image. If it is not available in our local repository, we need to pull it from Docker server. That means Docker Hub. After getting the image, we need to create a container. So what is a container basically? Container is an instance, or in simple words, it is a memory in which our application is running. You can start using that application. And the biggest advantage of container is that you can move container from one mission to another mission, as in the way the development team moves their containers to the operational team for testing purpose. You can do that. You can easily carry container from one place to another place. They are highly portable. Our ultimate goal with respect to Docker tutorial is to create and run containers in our mission. That is the ultimate goal. But to achieve that goal, we need to learn some basics. What are those basics? I've written the 4 points there. First of all, you need to learn how to install Docker. Once after the Docker is installed, we need to know how to start, stop, and check the status of Docker process. And then we learn how to get images from Docker Hub. If they are not available in our local repository, if they are available, not a problem. If they are not available, if you want some image, then how to get from Docker Hub. Once after getting images, how can we check the list of images and their properties? If you wanted to check how to list them, that thing. All these 4 can be done with simple commands, very easy commands, very easily we can remember them. Once after knowing all these things, in the next video, I'll be showing you how to create containers of the images that we have loaded from the Docker Hub. Now let's install Docker. I'm using Linux operating system, but the kind of operating system that you are using to install Docker is not at all a matter. The entire process is the same thing. In case of Windows, what you have to do is that you need to go to the official website of Docker, get the docker.exe file, install it. It is as simple as like installing any app in your mobile. In case of Linux, you need to use the following command so as to install the Docker. So in my case, I don't have Docker. So to prove that, I'm using the command Docker. So the machine is telling me the Docker command is not available. In case if you want to install, the following command can be used. Simply copy this command, the second command, sudo apt install docker.io. You can even use the first one, not a problem. So I'm pasting this one. It takes little bit of time. We are done with the installation of Docker. Now let's learn how to stop, start, and check the status of the Docker process. To do that, use the following command. Sudo systemctl. It's a command to check the status or to stop or start any process within the Linux system. This is the way that we can do. In case of Windows, you can directly go to administrative tools. There you can start the service or you can stop the service. It's quite easy in case of Windows. Systemctl, use the keyword status for the process Docker. Here you can see the Docker process is active and it is running. It is running because we have freshly installed it. During the installation process, it has created the executables that are required to run the software. Now it is running. Once after the mission is shut down and when we restart our mission and how to start this process, now let's see how this can be done. Use the same command instead of status in case if you want to start the process. In this case, it is already started. So I'm roughly showing how to start the process. If it is already started, there won't be any problem. In case if it is not running, then this is the way that we can start. If we want to stop the process, then use the command stop. Now Docker process is stopped. If I want to start the process, then use the same command start. Now let's recheck the status. It's active and running. Alright, now let's learn how to get images from Docker Hub. Basically, after first installation, there won't be any images that are available in our local repository. How to test the list of images? Simple, sudo docker images. You can see that there are no images available in our local memory. That means local repository. We need to get an image from Docker Hub. Let me get an image of MySQL. To get the image of MySQL from Docker Hub, use the following command: sudo docker pull mysql. You can use the tag latest. If you use this tag latest, then whatever the latest version that is available with MySQL, you will get it. But the tag latest is by default. Even if you provide it or not, you will get the latest one. It takes little time. We are done. We successfully pulled an image from Docker Hub. Now we can test the list of images that we are having in our local repository. We can use the same command, docker images. It is showing me the following images that we have pulled the MySQL. In our local repository, we have MySQL and the tag is latest. That means latest version. This is the image ID. This means the image that is last modified 13 hours ago, which means it is very much latest. The total size of the image that occupied in our local repository is 524 MB. These are the statistics of the images. In the same way, you can pull whatever the image that you want into the local repository. Note that having an image doesn't ensure that your application is running. To ensure that our application is running, we need to create a container. How to create containers for the images that we have already pulled from the Docker Hub or the images that which are available in our local repository? Watch our next video.